Message. Okay, so my great-grandmother's husband died when she was like 30, 31. She had 9 children at the time, I believe. What was she to do? It definitely was past 1930s because my grandmother was born, like I said, in 1933, and she was one of the older ones. So it's past 1930s, but the reality is people's husbands went to war. They they died now. Definitely they got money to some respects. But just saying, women definitely needed that help. Now, there was government help also available, but no woman that I am aware of from my family had that. So anyway, just saying, women needed things to do also within society. Voting rights, also women are capable of thinking rationally, critically in voting. So I think that's a great thing. Where it became unhealthy and non-beneficial, I am not quite sure. But once again, this did not begin with women of African descent who were still very much so working alongside their families, okay? But these very intelligent women who did begin this movement knew that they would not be able to stand on their own. Not in a male-dominated society where all power and authority came from them. No. No. These were some brilliant women. And what they did see was the power that the people of African descent had fighting during civil rights. They had some power to be the lesser of most people here in this country. They were making some traction. And they also saw how strongly the women in our society of African descent, how loudly we protested, did sit-ins, made some huge gains. They saw that. Anybody of any type of intelligence would want those type of women on their team when they're fighting for women. Is that not correct? And so they sold those women whatever they chose to tell them that would be inclusive. And so, of course, women who are strong and standing for what they believe is right and very much about women of conviction and values and all these different things said, of course, this will be great for all of us, our daughters, our granddaughters, right? That's what a lot of the protesting and standing up and all that, it really wasn't just for those people in those moments. They were doing sit-ins for me and my brothers and sisters and nephews and nieces. I've actually met some of those people living here in Atlanta. They actually I've met a couple of them, a few men actually from those movements. They be at the Starbucks over here off Cascade, and let me tell you, it was a huge honor, honestly, to meet them, talk to them. I went to Tuskegee, but Fisk was the hub for that. My sister went to Fisk, and Interestingly enough, the conversation began because I had on a Fisk sweatshirt that I bought when I went to go visit my sister before. So anyway, that whole thing to say, we were in no way the proponents of this movement initially to say anything about not needing men. It was just, hey, rights for us would be good for our daughters, granddaughters, great-great-granddaughters, okay? Now, once again, where it got unhealthy could be so many nuanced conversations. But again, I want to be clear. We were included in the fight out loud. And because African descent women are very much so about conviction and values, and what we stand for, whether loudly or quietly, it's very much with strength. Once again, people know that. They saw that and they capitalized on that. Have we taken it to a level that is highly dangerous? I do believe so. But I think that has something to do more so with the way society is going, to be honest. In general, okay? Because mind you, you also have here a society that thrives on capitalism, individualism, self-sufficiency, and independence. To think that somehow the women would not at all be affected by all of that, gee golly, would be very ignorant. That the women would just not pay attention, not be smart enough. I mean, I'm not sure if those who are surprised that women are the way that women are now, I struggle with that, because I'm just like, so in this society, culture, these were values that were impressed upon us. And as we assimilated and integrated and needed to work and live and play and raise families, how did you think that was going to turn out? I mean, just asking. Because it would seem to be that the people living here would adopt those values. But some kind of way, when the women adopt them, it's not really a good thing. So that's another conversation for another day. But I am just more so addressing the fact that we were not, or are not, the only ones in the least bit that are saying we don't need a man. We, meaning women of African descent. Never has been us. We were not in the forefront of this. But once again, whatever we choose to hold on to, we will hold on with full conviction and determination and tenacity and grit and all those things. And unfortunately, when it gets to a level that is unhealthy, where you should let it go and have boundaries, it's not always the case. So yeah, anyway, I just wanted to just kind of run that through, even as I process it, right? I'm running through the timeline, if you will, when I didn't give any dates for real, but just saying, like, when did black women become the only one saying that? That's the part for me that I'm like, so we were included in a movement that now we're the only ones in? If that is really true, which I know it isn't, but if it is, there needs to be a great awakening, because we getting punked, okay? We getting punked because we are still not at the top of the chain of command. We're not. So once again, it would be very much detrimental to be saying we don't need those who are at the top. But that's just my limited logic. I can't say I know all the things, because I don't at all. My kids, my students clearly remind me of that all the time, and they're 4 and 5, okay? But yeah, someone else could probably help me make sense of it. And I don't mind that type of logic. I honestly also am wondering, are there really people, I'm sure that there are people on all extremes, right? But are there really people living in such a way where they believe that they don't need men to exist? I get, once again, the feelings if you've been hurt and maybe men weren't leading the way that they should. And so there's this feeling, right? I get it. We all can have strong feelings and passions. But when the logic kicks in as we look throughout life, we see, oh, who owns the banks, who runs the companies, who does all these different things. You don't want to set yourself up against those particular individuals in power. And not that you're groveling at them, worshiping them either. I think there can just be a healthy respect, honor, appreciation. That, I don't know. That just kind of seems, that's just some of my thoughts about that. So anyway, there's that. I just would like for us to stop saying that we're the only ones, or for anybody to be saying that, because it's not true. Especially now that social media is out, a lot more women actually are saying that, of all different cultures. All of them are loudly and proudly saying that. But now who's highlighted? That's a different story. Also, just get to know and talk to other people outside of maybe what you're used to, because you will also know that that's not the case. So I'll just give you a few examples of women who do not look like me that had those sentiments, or that the imagery was surrounding those sentiments. Remember that lady? I can't remember her first name, but she was the Riveter, and she had her arm. I know y'all want to see my guns. Let me just, you know what I'm saying? They're not like they used to be though. But anyway, she does this, and her hair is kind of like up and something. I don't know. I can't remember her name. But anyway, that image was saying something loudly and proudly. That lady did not look like me at all. Later on, though, they created an image that doesn't look like me of that particular image. Not only that, growing up, I do remember those Nike commercials, not 20 years ago. And unless I've just been duped, and actually black women run the world, I'm pretty sure that they were not the ones who were running or even leading this Nike campaign. Okay. But I remember the women's sports, right? And even in the commercials, the women weren't so much looking like me. But they were saying in the background, anything you can do, I can do better. No, you can't. Yes, I can. No, you can't. Yes, I can. No, you can't. Yes, I can. Okay. I think that really did it for probably a lot of women, actually. But it was a series. I say campaign because it was a series of messages like that. We weren't the ones empowering those messages. We didn't pay for those messages. We didn't need those messages. But they affected us. So yeah, that was my little secret to you, because apparently we didn't know that. We didn't know that. We thought the whole time Black women were behind it, and we just have all the power to change all the things. And that's not true. That's not true. So I think a brief look back, just kind of look back, oh, okay, yeah, wait a minute, that wasn't us. Let's just kind of look back a little bit, and maybe, sentiments can align more with the reality of things. And but then also, once again, there needs to be a great awakening because we are the loudest voice highlighted in that particular rhetoric. All right, that's all. That's all I got. That's all I got. That's all I got. You know what I'm saying? I'm processing, I'm thinking, I'm questioning, pontificating. Anywhere that I am needing some type of correction or a misunderstanding of things, I would actually appreciate it, because my thoughts don't exist in a vacuum, right? I could be off on all the things or many things. These are just thoughts that I've had, and I've talked to some people, but once again, these are just thoughts that I've had as I've just thought through things. So, all right, shalom.